Welcome ladies and gentlemen to a new Call of Duty Warzone Season 6 video. In this video we're going to compare the AS VAL to the M4A1 to let you know which one is the best assault rifle. This video is going to break down the stats and the overall feel of both weapons to let you know which one you should use inside your loadout. But before we do that, I want to apologise about the previous video comparing the AS VAL to the MP5. We did get some of the statistics wrong there, but we have corrected it down in the pinned comment, so if you are coming from that video, we do apologise. Moving on from that, we know that the majority of you watching this video right now are not subscribed, and we want to hit our goal of 4,000 subscribers before Cold War releases, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to help us out. Also, if you haven't already, go and follow us over on Twitch. So as I mentioned in my MP5 ASVAL video, the ASVAL is very similar to an SMG in the fact that it's not really used at long ranges. The M4 is an assault rifle that does perform really well at close range and it has a really low time to kill, so that's why I wanted to compare it to the ASVAL. So firstly, taking a look at the stats for both of these guns, at the left we have the ASVAL and on the right we have the M4A1, and this ASVAL stats have been updated to make sure they are correct. In terms of damage profile to headshots and body shots, the ASVAL definitely performs much better than the M4A1. In terms of rate of fire, the ASVAL also performs better here too, by almost 80 rounds per minute more than the M4. This now brings us our time to kill values, and the time to kill values for the ASVAL is the lowest in the assault rifle category, and also the damage drops off less times than the M4A1. The aim down sight speed and reload times are very similar, however the main issue is that the ASVAL has such a low magazine size at 20 rounds. This is the main issue with the ASVAL, is the fact that it does have a really high rate of fire and high damage profile, but the magazine size is so low so you burn through ammo so quickly. And due to this, if you miss shots, it's going to be really difficult for you to recover from a gunfight. Comparing this to the M4's 30 round mags, I wouldn't say that this is a major improvement, but the fact that the M4 has the option to increase this to 50 and 60 rounds, whereas the maximum the ASVAL can go up to is 30 rounds. And like I said, focusing on Warzone, if you're trying to take out multiple enemies, you definitely need either 60 rounds or 50 round mags. So the stats do not tell the whole story, of course. There is the recoil patterns that we need to take into consideration as well. But before we do that, I'm going to show you the class setups that we use to test both of these guns. For the M4, we use a standard class setup with the Grenadier barrel. This is pretty much the setup everyone uses. And then for the ASVAL, we use the following class setup to make it more like an assault rifle build. So we use the VLK stock, the VLK barrel, any optic because the iron sights on this are not great, the Merc foregrip and the 30 round mag. So like I said, in terms of mag size alone, the M4 definitely comes out on top here, especially when you're trying to take out multiple enemies. But for solos or duos, the ASVAL could be a great option, especially in close range fights. And of course the class setup that I've shown in this video is not the class setup I would actually recommend for the ASVAL. It's going to be more similar to the one that I've shown off in the MP5 video, which I'll leave in the description down below. So now let's take a look at the recoil pattern for both of these guns. So with the recoil chart on the screen here, we've got the M4A1 in green and the ASVAL in blue. On the very left is the recoil with no attachments, down the middle is the recoil with all the attachments equipped, and on the right is me trying to control the recoil pattern with the attachments. So to make testing fair, we fired only 20 or 30 rounds depending on which ASVAL we were testing. And what we notice is that the ASVAL has a very vertical recoil, it's almost straight up, whereas the M4 does drift slightly to the right. Now surprisingly, when I was trying to control the recoil, the M4 actually came out a bit easier in my opinion, and the M4 is definitely not an easy gun to control, but I guess this is expected when you add on the Grenadier barrel as it helps significantly with the recoil. So the only place I can see the ASVAL being used is in those very close range fights. The M4 is a very well rounded gun, and it is the reason why it is such a popular gun inside Warzone. Because if you understand its recoil pattern, you can use it at close, medium and long range and perform really well. Now the ASVAL is not this versatile. If you're going to use the ASVAL, it's mainly going to be close range fights. Unless your aim is perfect and you're able to control recoil really well, then you can start using the ASVAL at longer ranges, but even then the bullet velocity is a lot slower than the M4. So to summarise, what the ASVAL does do, which is close range combat, it does do really well of course, because you can shred through enemies much quicker than you can with the M4 and even the MP5 when I compared it in the previous video. and it could be paired well with something like a Kar 98 or the new SPR, and it does have the benefit of not using an attachment slot for the built-in suppressor, but for the overall best gun, the M4A1 is really hard to beat. So that's why I'm going to have to say overall the M4 is the better gun here. Let me know if you've unlocked the ASVAL and tell me down in the comments what class setup you're using and how you feel about the gun overall. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're posting a lot of Season 6 content, and also go and follow us over on Twitch. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave us a like as it helps YouTube recommend us more and more. That's all for this video, and thank you very much for watching.